It will boomerang on them. Let's get in Shehzad Poonawalla, national spokesperson of the BJP, joining us now. Thank you for joining us on Left, Right and Centre, Shehzad Poonawalla. A self-goal, says Shashi Tharoor, because there's a newfound dynamics in the opposition thanks to the BJP. He says because of the Adani Rao and Rahul Gandhi's conviction, the opposition has come closer. Shashi Tharoor says this is unprecedented, the unity that we're seeing in the opposition today. Has this backfired?
Sarah, now I'm inclined to think that was this all conspired rather than backfired. Perhaps this is what Ravi Shankar Prasad had referred to in his press conference as nakhun katakar shahid ban jana. You cut your nail and then you say you're a martyr of a cause that isn't. So was this actually, because look at the series of events. In a case of one of their spokespersons, Mr. Pawan Kheda, the legal team of the Congress party reaches the Supreme Court within hours. But here, where they very well knew that these cases are lingering on for years, they had plenty of opportunity to appeal, they had plenty of opportunity to apologize or to correct the statement or clarify the statement of Rahul Gandhi, which they've done in the past as far as Supreme Court is concerned. None of that is done. And then just before the Karnataka elections, this is allowed to play out in the way they have allowed it. So either it could be a sabotage and Mr. Gandhi should then figure out from his legal team whether they were sabotaging him, or perhaps it was, as Mr. Shashi Tharoor just said, that all being done so that a silver lining could be taken out from this dark cloud of conviction. Either way, I don't think that I am at the liberty, like Mr. Tharoor, even though his English must be much better, to impute motives to the courts. The court has finally convicted Mr. Rahul Gandhi. And the way the law
let me ask you the question again, Shehzad Poonawalla. Have you been played? Because the opposition is now slamming the government on Rajiv Gandhi's disqualification. Has the BJP made it easier for the opposition parties to find common cause? Because first you had the opposition that was chafing against working under the leadership of Rahul Gandhi. Now, technically, whether this goes to court or not, and whatever the court, if there's an appeal, what the court's verdict is, technically he's out. So there's that is no longer something that can divide the opposition.
You know, sometimes there's another phrase, you try to dig a hole for somebody else and you fall into it yourself. And perhaps that could have also happened, because what is going to be the plank of opposition unity that Rahul Gandhi has made a statement which many people legitimately perceive as a statement made against the OBC community. The Modi community belongs to the Ghanchi Samaj, which is categorized as OBCs in Gujarat and in other parts of the country. Or secondly, let me ask you, yesterday, if you've heard the statements of Mr. Akhilesh Yadav or the statements of some other regional parties, they have in fact said to the Congress very clearly that, look, the Congress should no longer be assuming leadership position. So for all I can say is that this relationship lasted nothing more than a day. It was a one-day stand at best, and at best a friends with benefits kind of equation, where after a day of showing solidarity,
but what Shashi Tharoor is saying is now they're back. And the glue is the action taken by the BJP. Let me ask you another question. You were talking about how the Congress hasn't acted immediately and taken up the option of legal appeal. The court had granted Rahul Gandhi bail. They had suspended the sentence for 30 days to allow him to appeal to a higher court. But even before any appeal could be filed, Rahul Gandhi has found himself disqualified as a member of parliament from Wayanad. Is this not, as the opposition has been making the charge, that the BJP, the government, continues to try and shrink the opposition space? Ironically, they say, saying this is due process of the law.
Sarah, if you go back to the Lily Thomas case of 2013, and I have a copy of that judgment, it's very clear that on conviction for 2 years and above, there is an automatic disqualification. I can read out that relevant paragraph for you. And therefore, there is no discretion left in the matter with the speaker. In fact, Mr. Kapil Sibal spoke to Megha Prasad, your colleague, and he clarified that the moment a person is convicted, even if there is a pending appeal, and by the way, the sentencing has been suspended, not the conviction. So the sentencing was suspended so that he could file an appeal and get bail, which is his legitimate right. But as long as the conviction is not stayed, or as long as the conviction is not overturned, which is another proceeding, there is no scope for Mr. Rahul Gandhi to take the plea that he should not be disqualified. The speaker,
what the opposition is saying, they are pointing to the alacrity, the speed with which the administration the Parliament administration worked in removing him from his post, right? They are comparing this, they're saying this is a blatant attempt to silence the opposition because they're comparing this to the treatment given to the suspended Lakshadweep MP who is waiting to be reinstated. But in that case, you have the Lok Sabha Secretariat dragging its feet on withdrawing his disqualification. But it's complete different treatment, they say, for Rahul Gandhi.
Oh, well, let me again reiterate that Lily Thomas makes it absolutely clear that it's not the discretion of the speaker to disqualify anybody. He at best plays the role, or she at best plays the role of notifying a fait accompli. And therefore, there have been more than 32 people, at least I can remember of, including 6 legislators of the BJP who have immediately lost their membership and stood disqualified. So whether the speaker notifies it on day 1 or day 10, it doesn't really make difference to the factum of the fact that the member is disqualified as of the next millisecond that he's convicted. So they stand in the same legal position. Lalu Prasad Yadav, Rashid Masood, Abdullah Azam Khan, Rahul Gandhi, all of them got disqualified the very next millisecond that they were convicted. Now, I just have a counter question to pose. If the Congress party felt that this was such a matter of tearing urgency and they knew that the conviction came on a day at 2 o'clock, then what were they waiting for to not file an appeal even today? I mean, as last known,
I think you answered that in the beginning, as you're saying, maybe this is the narrative they're trying to spin. They're taking moral high ground. So that brings us back to the question, has the BJP been played? Is this a self-goal? I want to lastly just ask you, what the opposition is raising, what the Congress is pointing out is that you have a sitting MP not allowed to speak in Parliament, and that is all that he has said in London, is that he wants to speak in Parliament. Sitting MP disqualified without a chance to appeal. What does this say about democratic institutions? Because at the same time, we have ADR showed in the last 2019 elections, 39% of the BJP legislators, 116 BJP legislators had criminal charges against them.
So let me separate that in 2 parts. Firstly, I've been in the Congress, as you know, and now I'm in the BJP, and I can tell you there are more votaries of Rahul Gandhi speaking in the BJP than in the Congress. I'm sure that many of my colleagues who have not left the Congress continue to fear God when Rahul Gandhi says that he's going to speak, like he did in the press conference.
But on a more serious note, these are serious issues that have to be raised in Parliament. It's only being raised outside. It has to be raised in England.
Now let me come to that. Now, on that point, he spoke in the first part of the budget session. There was no mics that were being shut off. He spoke at length. He has been speaking at length on media channels. He's been covered extensively by the press. And absolutely, there is a Supreme Court probe going on the issue that he keeps raising. Now, it was Mr. Khadge on 2nd February who said that we either want a Supreme Court probe or a JPC probe. This is on record. You can check the statement of Mr. Khadge given to PTI and to other news agencies. And now when a Supreme Court probe has been ordered, do they not trust the Supreme Court? And let's assume that he has all the facts on this particular issue of Mr. Adani. I think it's obnoxious that he keeps blaming and defaming a businessman who has not been found guilty of anything as of now. But having said that, if that is true, why hasn't he cancelled the projects in Rajasthan or in Chhattisgarh? And finally, as far as parliamentary and other institutions are concerned, at least Rahul Gandhi should look at his own family's history. The only time emergency was imposed, censorship was imposed, journalists were blocked, Supreme Court was taken for a ride, and Parliament was made pangu or a puppet was at the time of his grandmother. So I think Rahul Gandhi should look at what he has said. He has said in foreign soil that he wants foreign intervention. The question, of course, is will history repeat itself? I think that's what the Congress is banking on, because what we saw, the tide turned after Indira Gandhi spent, I think it was 6 days in jail then. Thanks so much.